So there's a decent possibility that you slept on the best wave from Hero Factory, 2014's Invasion from Below, and the results are in. The vote is in. It was a unanimous vote by me that this is the best wave. Okay, obviously I'm joking a bit, but this set right here is the Queen Beast. It's what we're going to take a look at first, and though I don't own all of the sets from this series, and also I can't make a video that long with this little bit of a setup, I do plan on looking at this and a couple of other sets and why I think you should get some or all of these sets that you desire. First things first, yes, there are some obvious pieces missing here. Yes, I do have those pieces, but this actually came out of a lot just like this, so I wanted to create the video with it directly from that lot. If you want to see what pieces are missing, it's just a handful, and I will point some of them out as we go through the video. With all of that being said, without further ado, let me introduce you to the Queen Beast. So this is essentially the penultimate villain from Wave 2 of the Hero Factory Invasion from Below line. This came out in 2014, and this is a fantastic set, giving you 3 of these hero characters, 1 jumper, which I had mysteriously placed off to the side, and 2 of these flower pods, because you'll note 1 is on the back of the actual queen themselves. We'll talk about that here in a moment, but what's even better about this set, and for this wave in general, is that all these sets were a bit of a battle in a box, with each set featuring at least 1 of the jumpers here in most cases, and or 1 of the heroes to battle these beasts. And I think that that was a pretty fantastic, pretty ingenious solution. But in this case, it's even better because you get a full machine with this set. It's not the largest machine by any means, but it is a pretty cool build and actually does some pretty interesting things with how it is designed. I think this is honestly a fantastic machine in and of itself, as simple as it is. Sometimes simple is all you need, and in this case here, the feature for this set is that this can open so you can store the jumpers inside. I believe this can hold at least 2, and I think I've gotten 3 in one of these before, and it will just clip shut, lock shut. Fairly simple. On top of that, these flower assemblies actually work by using this colored bit as a softer material, which is able to fold open, while the black is actually a hard plastic, ABS plastic. And that allows you to fold these down very alien style and fit jumpers inside, or even full-sized heroes inside as well. It's pretty fantastic. Well, I say full-size, but you know what I mean. The minifigures, right? That flower, that cocoon, whatever you want to call it, actually comes in 3 separate colors. Red is another one, and the jumpers themselves also come in several colors. 3 for the base, including orange, red, and lime green. 2 for the shells, including blue and black. So 6 total jumpers that you can make, all unique, and that's pretty cool in and of itself. On top of that, there are several beasts. I believe there are technically 7 beast sets, including 1 poly bag, plus one of the beasts actually splits into 2, conveniently called the splitter beast. So technically, you get 8 beasts. I did not count how many machines there are, probably a similar number, and 1 poly bag is a machine as well, and we'll talk about that toward the end of the video. So let's go ahead and take a look at the minifigures here. And yes, I know that Furno is missing his little heart light, his little logo here. There's actually 2 Furnos in this lot, and one of them did have that plate. I just grabbed the wrong one. No big deal though. These are honestly incredible little pieces. By far, in my opinion, the best representation of a miniature Bionicle and or Hero Factory figure that we've ever gotten. I think that this is honestly fantastic. The one downside with this is that the hands cannot rotate, but you do get bars on the hands and on the backs of the legs as well to attach accessories if you want to, and 4 studs on the base as well. Plus the head can move atop a minifigure head, which is going to come off if I try to pull this mask off, this helmet off. But the minifigure head directly below that is just a solid color. In this case, I believe medium blue, but don't quote me on that. Maybe medium azure, actually. With all that being said, there are several of these figures, but unfortunately, we do not get the full hero team. Both Stringer and Nex and our most beloved dropship pilot do not get these minifigures. It's really unfortunate, especially this being the last wave from Hero Factory, that we did not see these made for Stringer or for Nex. I wouldn't have even minded if we didn't get machines. At the very least, should have gotten minifigures of these because people can build their own machines. Speaking of the machines, all of the machines actually include a exclusive printed armor piece or exclusive to that character. So all of the Evo character or machines will have this one specifically with a little bit of a battle scar on there. I believe there are 3 Evo machines total. On top of that, all of the beasts contain some kind of printed piece. In this case here, we have this printed torso armor, which is shared with one of the other beasts, but it is a good one, so I'm not going to complain about that. From an orange to a sort of lime spring light green blend there, gradient there, it's a really, really nice print, especially if you want to build something animalistic. And in this case here, this is also a pretty ingenious build. It's fairly simple, but it is sizable and it's creature-like, which I really appreciate from a system called Creature and Character Building System. This is definitely one of the better builds, in my opinion. On top of that, you also get the moving claws, at least for the 2 fingers on one side. There are actually supposed to be 2 of those, but the other side is missing right now. No big deal. There's also 1 light missing over here. It's probably in the lot somewhere. I'm not digging around for it, and there's at least 1 other piece missing, but I haven't pointed it out just yet. And I do have this hammer. It's just sitting off the side because it likes to fall out, but no big deal. The main focus for these beasts themselves are probably the heads, of which all are exclusive with the exception of the crystal beast, again, whose head is actually shared with a polybag. I'm not complaining about that either because that is the only one with a transparent head, so it's pretty cool that you have 2 opportunities to get that head. In fact, if I remember correctly, it is this mouth base, this medium azure, with that trans light blue headpiece. So that is honestly pretty fantastic in my opinion. Color scheme here is also excellent. The black is a really good balance for the medium azure, which goes super well with the trans lime green. I would not have expected it, but it works exceptionally well here. And of course you can see these wing-like appendages. You can see those as whatever you want. Maybe it can fly. Maybe those are just ornate appendages, whatever, but that's up to you to decide what any of that is. They could be third arms for all, we know. And it's a pretty fantastic set in and of itself. On the back end here, we have one of the gold pieces being the Chima armor add-on, which is reasonably rare, so it's nice to have it here. It was introduced with the Chima line, and this was, I think, the first Hero Factory set to use it, maybe the only Hero Factory set to use it, in fact. And you also get this spike piece up here, which I believe is exclusive to the set. It is unfortunately a softer plastic than the rest, and so because of that, the melding in it looks a little weird. It feels kind of bootleg the way it looks, but, I'm not going to complain too much. Like I said, it's a really nice looking piece, and that crown of thorns assembly up there is just very great, in my opinion. On top of that, you get another one of these cocoons on the back, integrated just as well as it needs to be, and the set looks good. It's a very simple set in and of itself. It has a little grabber on this side here, and some of these figures should have accessories, like Ferno having a blaster, which I don't know if that was in the lot or not, but I have not found it yet, and I'm not going to look around too much more for it tonight. With that said, though, there are other beasts from this lineup, so let me go ahead and show you one of them now, the Flyer Beast. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the breeze that is supposed to go with this. This was missing from the lot, and again, there are a couple of pieces missing. There's supposed to be a handle for this radio antenna, but what I think is really lovely about this is that this is sort of a mech versus kaiju line, something that LEGO really doesn't do that much, or hadn't done that much up until this point, and seeing it done here in Hero Factory was really unique, but I appreciate it so much. It's not really my thing per se, but it is a fun sort of battle concept, right? And it's a very popular one at that. You have Pacific Rim and other themes that deal with this kind of stuff. So it's really nice to see it here. So having them sort of tear apart the city and use those parts as their weapons feels appropriate. The next set we're going to look at will also have something like that as well, though I haven't actually added it on the character, so saying that is preempting myself for failure. With that said, the Flyer Beast here is one that I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I do. Just the one print on one leg here, I was misled. I really thought I had 2 of those, but it is a good print using a sort of spider web pattern in yellow, and it sort of fades. I don't know if that's just a outline underneath it, like a layer underneath the yellow here that's white, but it almost looks medium azure. It's a weird thing, but it's a good looking plate or printed shell piece nonetheless, and it's a fairly simple design. I guess I should probably, get the antenna out of the way for you all to see it. So really good design. I like it. And it looks kind of like scales too. So it works as a spider web, it works as scales. It's a really good design. I have nothing else to say. On top of that, you also get this sort of claw on the other side. Would have liked to have seen a second joint in the arm here, but no big deal. And that claw can close up. These were actually introduced in this wave as well, these beast feet pieces. So getting them here in black, getting them back there in gold is nice, plus the large beast feet and the small beast feet we'll see next. So lots and lots of feet pieces from this wave specifically. The head in this case being black on top and yellow on bottom is a nice change of pace and looks very good on this set as well. I really didn't think I'd like this one. I've never owned it before, but I do. It looked kind of goofy in cover art. The color schemes looked a little weird, but it really works. I'm really happy with it. And the medium azure is sort of a tie-in color for all of these sets. So you're going to pretty much see it across the board. Last beast we'll look at in this video, because I don't own any more of them right now, at least I don't think I do, is the splitter beast here. He is supposed to be holding a light post, but I just have not thrown that together yet, so it's not here at the moment. That said, as the name implies, this splits. There are actually two beasts on here at once. I feel like this is probably supposed to have a shell on the back of it, but I don't remember, and I was just looking at photos to build it, so I'll figure that out later. But the beast itself does have these lovely large claws, very common piece from Hero Factory in general, so it's nice to see him here, and of course brings in that trans orange, that sort of secondary color. And it's interesting to see that the orange solid is only relegated to the headpiece here. It's not anywhere else on the figure. So kind of a strange choice, but I don't hate it. And I'm actually very glad that that is a solid orange and not like a trans orange similar to Crystal Beast. It just works better here, in my opinion. This gives you a full-size figure, that means, and it gives you a small figure as well. So actually going out of your way to get this one, which is still relatively cheap on the secondhand market, is a good one. It is one that I would recommend because you get the two head pieces here, which both fully work, open up to two different positions, and they close as well, which is nice. Plus, you get a decent claws, which is fine, and you get all of the feet pieces introduced for this wave, including the small beast feet, the large padded beast feet, flat beast feet, whatever you want to call them, and the pointed beast feet here as well, including one as a tail. So pretty fantastic overall. Fairly simple set, and in this case, the print is only on the leg, but it is on both legs. A very good print in my opinion too, with that medium azure and orange and another little battle scar up the top. So what do I think about all of these sets? I really like them. I think this is honestly the best wave, as I mentioned, from Hero Factory. It is my personal favorite, and if you were somebody who bought some of the early sets, you were going to recognize these characters because they did a very good job, for the most part, with designing these characters and designing their minifigure helmets. Some of them look maybe a little bit off, Surge, Breeze, for example, but they're definitely good enough and definitely recognizable enough at the very least. On top of that, what sets would I recommend? Queen Beast here is unfortunately a bit overpriced in my opinion, but thankfully many of the parts that she includes are pretty common. Really, the only part you're going to struggle to get might be these gold beast feet, which you could very easily leave off for another cityscape weapon of some kind in your own build. Probably this gold armor on top, since I believe it is exclusive here. And I would imagine the head, but I don't even think the head is terribly expensive, at least from what I have seen. These pieces have also been used in plenty of other sets, including Bionicles, so not terribly expensive. And the cocoon pieces kind of fluctuate, but never really that expensive on their own. So it is a good set, but it's definitely a set that I recommend parting out personally, or at least parting out the pieces you need. And although these are the wrong front legs here, and I do have the correct ones, I like this design better. So feel free to just kind of have fun with it, you know, change up the length of certain joints. I think you will enjoy it. However, if I was going to recommend a set on its own, if you didn't want to source the parts yourself, what I'd recommend is Splitter Beast is probably my #1 beast, just because it is a very, very good starting point. Is it going to wow anybody? No, absolutely not. It's one of the most basic beasts, but you get two beasts in it, and both of them stand up fairly well with themselves. With themselves? That's a weird sentence, but you know what I'm trying to say. Both of them hold their own. On top of that, if I had to recommend any of the other beasts, the Polybag one is pretty cool. It's a fairly basic one, but it's a nice one to have, and maybe a little more expensive because I think the Crystal Beast head is a bit more expensive than the others. Looking over at the vehicle side, The Evo crawler thing here is fine, and it comes with the Queen Beast, so if you do buy the set, you'll get that too. However, it's not anything terribly exciting. That said, the pod on the back of it can come off, because the gimmick from Wave 2, which is full of crawler machines, is that these tools on their back, in this case a pod, can be swapped interchangeably between all of the sets. At least I think all of them. At the very least, they can all go on the combat machine, which is the one I'd recommend next. Surge and Raka's combat machine is a fantastic set, and it's still a relatively affordable one as well. It's one of the larger CCBS builds that we ever got, and it has a pretty interesting building scheme at that, pretty interesting building techniques used within there. Nothing that's going to blow you away by any means, but the most fantastic part about it is that you get not only 2 minifigure scale heroes with Surge and Raka, but the thing that goes on the back, the equipment that goes on the back, is an actual flyer. It's definitely something that can use a bit of modding, because on its own it looks a little bit empty, but the fact that you get it at all is fantastic in my opinion, because it wasn't necessary. It could have been a tool like the other sets from this wave. But the fact that you actually get a flyer means you get 2 things to play with, very similar to Splitter Beast. So Surge's combat machine is probably the one I'd recommend the most if you can find it cheaply available. If you cannot and you want to look at some of the other machines, I do think that there are some really good ones. I really like Raka's stealth machine for its aesthetic mostly. The Evo XL Walker, whatever that one's called, is a pretty good one. It has a really nice function on it as well. But this is just a theme that I think any set that you buy, you're going to enjoy. One of my personal favorites is also Tunneler Beast, which is a fairly small one, fairly inexpensive one, and comes with one of these cocoon pod pieces on its back, and it's integrated in a really fun way as well. And it's used really well on a red creature too, so it gives you this awesome color contrast there. And I believe the Surge and Raka combat machine, which we'll look at in a separate video, also comes with a cocoon on its own. All right, so I have dragged this one on long enough. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and hopefully for future videos, for larger videos than this, I'll be getting a bit of a bigger table, hopefully just addressing the setup here in general. Using a webcam, relying on that is a bit difficult, not the best for these videos. It's definitely not what they deserve, but it is what we have for now, and you asked for it. With all that being said, you can check out the conversation in the comments below, or Discord, Instagram, or if you want to help support that table and support the channel, check out the Patreon linked in the description. Don't feel obligated to do so, but I definitely enjoy it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.